Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shams and I make all kinds of videos here on YouTube. If you're interested in career development, pharmacy, beauty, skincare, travel, these are the types of videos I do. I basically just like to share my life. I'm going to tell you the ins and outs of how I became a 23-year-old pharmacist and able to make a six-figure income at 23. A lot of you were so interested in this topic from my TikTok. The video did really well, so I wanted to make a detailed video for all of you who are curious about the details and curious about how I specifically got there. I'm gonna tell you all of my tips and tricks. Make sure to stay until the end of the video and leave in any comments of any questions that you have, because if you see, I respond to every single comment and I answer all of your questions. So before you start pursuing pharmacy, hopefully you decided that it is for you. You decided that the income, scheduling, the types of opportunities that you will get in pharmacy is ones that will align with your personal goals. So make sure that you figure that out before everything else, because pharmacy is not for everyone. That is why you're gonna see a lot of miserable pharmacists, because these are a lot of the times people who maybe did not want to initially do pharmacy. Maybe they went for medical school or some other degrees. They couldn't get in, so then they were like, oh, pharmacy is a great career, great hours, you still get a good income, and then they went into pharmacy. They really did not go in it because they enjoyed it, that they were interested in it. So before you do anything, before you even watch this video, I want you to figure out if pharmacy is really for you. And I'll tell you a little bit more about my journey in this video, but I'll also make some other ones, so make sure to subscribe if you're interested in pharmacy altogether. But definitely make sure that you are actually interested in pharmacy before you go into it, because it's not worth it. The money that you're gonna get is not worth it for all the pain, all the studying that you are going to do. Trust me, the amount of studying that you're doing in pharmacy, if you compare it to medical school, it's really close. Like, you're all learning the same foundational things. Medical school will have to do more board exams and they have to do a residency. With pharmacy, you don't have to. It's kind of optional. But please don't fall under the assumption that, you know, if you didn't get into medical school and maybe that was your dream to go into pharmacy, because you're going to be miserable. Now that we got that out of the way, let me tell you about my journey. I graduated high school when I was 17 years old. I was not the biggest fan of school, and I'm not really to this day. I just want to give you guys hope. If you're not the best in school, if you don't like school, it does not mean that you can't become a pharmacist. It just means that you were struggling in areas that you maybe were not naturally good at. For example, with me, math, I'm not naturally good at it. I have to try really hard, and even when I try hard, I tend to not do that well. But when I went into biology, when I did organic chemistry, when I did chemistry, I did really well. Like, I excelled in these classes. I'm telling you, like, I would get hundreds on my exams. Like, that is the type of student I was. Compared to math classes, I had a math class that I failed 3 times in college. So I'm telling you, you can mess up a lot. You don't have to be the most perfect student, but if you go into a career that you actually enjoy and like, you likely will excel. And I'm telling you this as someone who got multiple awards during my pharmacy school graduation. I got the most prestigious awards. I had my NAPLEX paid for. I was one of the top students. I got a lot of A's throughout my pharmacy school education. So don't think of yourself as dumb or lesser than if you don't perform well in certain classes. Trust me, some people are just better at certain things than others, and that is okay. So I graduated high school when I was 17. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I was completely lost. And I started to think about my priorities. I was like, okay, I need to find a career that, one, I enjoy, I am good at, that will compensate me well. Money's important, but it's not everything. And a career that I can finish with school relatively early. What I did not want to do is I did not want to be a student when I'm 30. I did not want to spend all of my 20s in school. There's nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of respect for doctors, for anyone who goes back to school, anyone who is studying for a long amount of time, like anyone who is pursuing any goals. I have a lot of respect for you. But for me personally, I knew that I did not want to be in school. Like, I did not want to be in school. I wanted to finish as fast as possible. So I identified that these were my priorities. Then I started kind of shadowing different healthcare providers, and that is when I stumbled upon an opportunity to shadow a pharmacy in the hospital. I shadowed at an outpatient pharmacy. I got to do that in like my second year of college. And again, at that point, even throughout my college, my second year, I was not sure what I wanted to do. I was completely lost. I was not one of these people that knew exactly what they wanted to do. So I'm telling you, even if you feel so lost, as long as you keep moving, as long as you don't take like breaks and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna take a year to figure it out. No, like I really encourage you to keep going, keep taking classes, keep figuring things out, because an idea, a revelation is not going to come to you out of nowhere. It's going to come to you from experiencing things, from taking classes, from meeting different people. It's not going to come to you when you're sitting at home playing video games. Like I was saying, in my second year of college, I believe it was, I went and volunteered at an outpatient pharmacy, and turned out I really enjoyed it. I liked what the pharmacist did. I went and actually I was doing deliveries to nearby long-term care centers, and I loved that. Like I loved just seeing patients, and I loved that I wasn't really hands-on with them. Like with me dealing with blood, if I think about blood for too long, I actually will pass out. So I knew that I could not do anything with blood. Like I was not interested in being a nurse. They're up on their feet all day, they're dealing with patients, they're, you know, they're really hands-on, and I knew it was not for me. So anything that was super hands-on, anything that dealt with blood was a no for me. And I really loved that pharmacy had that for me, that I did not have to deal with that in pharmacy. So it turns out I really liked it. Then I started to do my research. You know, I asked a lot of people that were pharmacists. I asked a lot of people that were looking into pharmacy what their thoughts were, what their experiences were, and I got a lot of negative feedback, but I got some good feedback as well. I actually ignored all the bad feedback, all the bad things people were saying about pharmacy, because even back in my day, I applied to pharmacy school in 2018, towards the end of 2018, and even back then, people were saying that pharmacy is so saturated, that it's a horrible job, that you're not going to find any jobs when you apply. Medications can't get to patients unless they're verified by a pharmacist. Pharmacists are always in demand, and now more than ever. Right now in hospitals, pharmacists are running clinics. Pharmacists, we see patients more than the physician does. Your physician is only going to see you once a year, okay? Once a year. Even your physician who is specialized in a specific area, like a pain physician, maybe they're going to see you once every 6 months maximum. Us pharmacists, when I did my residency and I helped run a pain management clinic, I was seeing patients almost every week, every month, every 2 weeks, whatever we wanted. We're seeing the patients as often as possible. This is just how it is. There are a lot of opportunities for pharmacists, and if you think about it, they pay physicians a lot more than pharmacists. Obviously, I think that pharmacists are underpaid. If you think about it, hospitals, clinics, they're always benefiting from pharmacists because we're saving them money. We're getting patients to their ideal regimen. We're doing the medication switches. So do you guys get the idea? This is one thing I want to preface, is like, there are a lot of opportunities in pharmacy. No one was telling me that when I was applying for pharmacy school. Fast forward to my junior year of college. So right after high school, I actually did not go into university right away. I went into community college, and I took all of like the prerequisite classes that everyone has to take. So English, math, like all the basic classes people have to make. I took it at a community college, and it was a really good decision because I finished undergrad with zero debt. Because it was just so cheap. Like I did not have to take any loans, and I recommend you do that instead of going into university right away unless you have a scholarship. So I went into community college right away. I did all of my prerequisite classes. In my sophomore year, I applied to go to a university, and I started taking classes at the university. So I took like all of my orgos, all of the higher level classes I went ahead and took at a university. And then when it became my junior year of university, I was like, okay, right now my tentative major is biological sciences. I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do with this degree. Majoring in biology is kind of useless. What are you gonna work at? Maybe a lab. This is the truth, but this is also my opinion, so you can tell me your thoughts in the comments. I think just majoring in biology is useless. A lot of people who major in biology, they have the goal in the back of their heads, either in going to medical school, pharmacy school, nursing, all of that. So I went to my counselor to kind of look at the prerequisites and see if I can apply to a pharmacy school. And surely enough, she said that I can. So she really encouraged me to start applying to programs because I actually can. I actually have a lot of requirements done. It was a struggle to convince my family to move out because they were like, you know, it's going to be a lot of more expenses. It's going to be more expensive if you go to school out of state. And then they also just did not want me to be far from them. but I knew that like with my goals, with my priorities, it would be really important for me to do this. So I decided to apply to a few schools out of state, and surely enough, literally like a few months after, I was getting offers to get interviewed at these pharmacy schools. And I actually went and interviewed at 2 schools. The very first school that I applied to and interviewed at, I went ahead and put in my deposit because they offered me an acceptance and I accepted. So I actually put in a deposit, and then a while after I got an offer from a 3-year program. Mind you, the other program was 4 years long. The next one was 3 years long. So I was like, okay, although I have already accepted a position, I want to go and check this school out. Like, it seems really promising. So I went and I interviewed at the school, and I immediately was super interested. It was a win-win. It was a 3-year program. It was a smaller class size, which I loved because I wanted to have a more individualized experience. And I just clicked with the faculty that was there. Like, I was inspired by them. I looked up to them, and I just saw myself in that school. So guess what? I literally went to the other school and I told them that, hey, I changed my mind, and I put in a deposit at the second school I applied to. And that was a really good decision that I made for myself. So after my junior year finished, after I completed all of my requirements, I started pharmacy school in 2019 when I was 19 years old. I was the youngest student in my class, but honestly, it's not that crazy of a thought. Like, anyone can do it if they plan ahead. And really the rest is history. Since it was a 3-year program, I graduated in 2022 when I was 23 years old. Towards my last year of pharmacy school, I was doing my rotations, my clinical rotations, and I knew that a residency is something I really wanted to do. So I applied to pharmacy residencies and I got in. So after I graduated pharmacy school at 23, I went ahead and started a residency program. So let me know if you have any questions about residency, about passing the NAPLEX, because I had a little bit over a month to study for the NAPLEX and I passed from the first time. While I was in my residency working at least 9-hour days and commuting an hour, I also was able to study and pass for the law exam, which is the NPJE. If you focus and if you know yourself, you know how to study, the hours that you're putting in into your studies are actually quality hours, then you can do anything. You can do it all. You can do anything if you just focus. So really, this is it for this video. I gave you a lot of details about pharmacy and some information regarding pharmacy, but I also told you about my journey. I can go into the specifics of pharmacy school in another video, but I just kind of wanted to tell you the timeline that I did to graduate pharmacy school. And they were a really good 3 years in pharmacy school. Residency was tough, but I recommend you do it if you want to just have an easier time getting into different pharmacy school positions. I do recommend the residency for some people. It's not for everyone, and we'll talk about residencies in the next video. Let me know if you have any specific questions about it. After residency, I actually took a break from working. I wanted to travel. I wanted to just live my life. I wanted to wake up in the morning and have like nothing to do. And I did that, and I'm so happy that I did. Like, more people need to take breaks because I feel like I am a completely new person. At that time, I did not look for any pharmacy jobs. None of it. My mind was so at ease because I believed that something will come my way. You know how people say that opportunity is just not gonna come knocking on your door? Well, the opportunity came. Like, I literally checked the website, I saw that a position was open, and I applied for it, and I had to wait a while. But you know what I did in that while? I got engaged and I was traveling. It was not a waste of time at all. I really recommend you hustle, graduate as early as possible, and if you ever feel like you need to take a break after you graduate, after you figure out what you wanted to do, then do it, because you're never gonna get this time back. Yeah, after this break, I applied for this position, and now I'm a clinical pharmacist at a nearby hospital, and I really enjoy it. So let me know if you guys have any questions about that. With that being said, this is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.